So we're here with Johan Martinez Khalilian. He's not only my friend, because I met him long time ago now.
Long time ago.
Oh my God, more than 15 years ago?
I feel like we were kids.
Literally.
Yeah.
We were models.
I got gray hair now on my beard.
Well, now we're not models anymore.
We're model citizens now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Johan, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing now after all these years.
Yeah. Well, you know me after all these years, but I guess,
I know.
not
Yeah,
many
the
people who are
audience.
chiming in. So I will say, when we met, I didn't have children yet. I wasn't married.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a dad with two wonderful kids. I'm married to a beautiful woman named Lena.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter's name is Isla.
Oh,
She's 5 years old. Yeah.
so cute.
Which I could tell you a story about how we came up with her name. And then my son's name is Koa.
Oh.
And I'm a prototypical kind of girl dad. My daughter has me wrapped around her finger.
Yes.
And I work a lot on mindset,
Mm-hmm.
mental performance. I do executive coaching, work with athletes. I work with CEOs. I also do a lot of motivational speaking. And I get to travel around the world and either talk to big crowds of 5,000 to 10,000 people at a time, or sometimes the one-on-one coaching around mindset and habits.
Mm-hmm. This is a question that I always have with motivational speakers. Is
Yeah.
Why nowadays we're seeing more and more motivational speakers? It's because the world, people need like happiness and therapy and that kind of thing. Like the world is kind of screaming for help.
You know, it's a good question. One is like, I do think we're in a stage where we're all searching for something.
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to figure ourselves out. And most of us don't have, it sounds simple, but something as simple as direction. And how do we figure that out? How do we figure out who we are? How do we figure out how to dream big dreams, or even have like the courage to chase those dreams? And I think we're in a spot where we can now watch more people's stories than ever. And the more we can see other people's stories and learn as much information as possible, I think more of us are trying to figure out, what's my story? How do I figure out my thing? So I think it's created, you know, this need to want to figure it out and even tap into a motivational speaker. Now, I will say this, just like any industry, there's a lot of shitty, can I say that? Can I say shitty?
Of course, you can say whatever you
There's
want.
a lot of shitty motivational speakers.
I know.
Just like I said, any industry you tap into, there's going to be people that are not that great. So I pride myself on, you know, telling powerful stories and really helping people when I am on the stage, or even when I'm coaching one-on-one.
Understanding that. Now, you hear all the time, or people, and I hear it all the time from friends and in articles and stuff like that. They say, we all need therapy. We all need to go to the psychologist.
Yeah.
and you know, and women after 40 years, you know, like after 40, we all need to go to talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
What do you think about therapy?
Yeah, I love therapy. I'm in therapy. So I'm a coach, but I'm in therapy with my wife. We're in couples therapy. I would put it this way, though. I would say we all need help.
Okay.
We all need guidance. We all need support. I think when people say we all need therapy, they kind of say it like we're messed up.
Exactly.
And I don't think humans are messed up. I don't think that's why we need help and guidance and support. I actually think if we're going to thrive as people, we can't do it alone.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the biggest lies maybe that we've learned along the way. It's this misconception that if you're going to succeed, if you're going to be your best, you got to do it on your own. You don't need anybody's help. And I think that's messed up a lot of people, because now even when you succeed, it's just not as powerful when you're by yourself. But when you succeed and you have a whole tribe with you, you know, when you reach the top and you bring your people with you, man, that's fulfilling.
Absolutely.
So I don't see it like, I think most people talk about it as this thing of like, because you're messed up, you know,
exactly.
go to therapy.
Like your parents didn't do the right job with you, you need to go to therapy. It's not because of that.
Not at all. Well, and I'll say this. So I communicate this to people because sometimes they'll come to me as a coach and they're like, is this like therapy?
Exactly.
So therapy primarily is going to focus on your past. And I think we need some of that, right? To go into our past to figure out what parts of our past shaped who we are today. they're going to spend the majority of the time there. As a coach, I'm actually spending the majority of the time in the future. What's your vision?
I see.
What are your goals? What do you want to create? And then we'll figure out, okay, what habits will get you there? What type of mindset will get you there? Who do you need to be in order to create that future that you want? It's not that we won't talk about your past, but we're spending, let's say, 80% in your future, some of the time in your present, and then we may tap into the past from time to time. But if I notice somebody wants to talk a ton about the past, then I'll tell them it's probably best for you to go see a therapist, because as a coach, my job is future oriented. And then I like to throw in consultant. So consulting is essentially an expert in that arena. So if I'm going to, be your business consultant, I'm going to talk about the way that I've scaled my business and I've made, millions and billions of dollars. So now I'm going to give you my playbook. Consultants are primarily interested in the answers that they're going to give you to go get what you want. As a coach, I'm actually more interested in the questions that I'm going to ask you, the feedback that I'm going to give you, because I'm not an expert in your field, right? I'm an expert in the mindset, in your inner world, in the ways to help you get out of your own way to create that future.
I see. Now, what do you do, for example, you're talking to an audience, but half of the audience have fear. For example, I used to, now I don't care as much as before, but I had fear of my accent. My accent was one of those things that I was always in my mind when I was trying to, live in the United States and do business, auditions and stuff like that. I was always thinking, but I have an accent. How would you tell, or what do you tell somebody? Don't have fear. Because that's so easy to say, but how am I going to apply that?
Well, I think the first piece is I would never tell somebody not to have fear.
Okay.
That's like telling them, don't be human. How do you help somebody get rid of fear?
Yeah, that's impossible, right?
Well, and you don't. There's fear's in us for a reason, right? Fear helps us stay protected when we need to. It's a survival mechanism, right? The goal of allowing fear to run through our veins as an emotion is, when I sense it, I'm gonna take care of myself in some capacity. So it's not about get rid of fear. It's about putting fear in its proper place. Fear is not meant to be a driver.
Okay.
In survival moments, yes, but most of our life is no longer about survival. So if we can talk to fear, if we can develop a relationship with fear, and we can notice when fear is coming up, even for you when you talk about your accent, it's like, I wonder what I'm afraid of there.
People laughing at me?
Yeah, so then if you keep digging deeper and you say, well, what happens when people laugh at me? What am I afraid of there?
Makes me nervous.
Okay, so now
I feel dumb.
Why don't I like feeling nervous? Why don't I like feeling dumb? You see how we can keep, and the more you get to it, you're probably going to get to something that if you confront it and you develop a relationship with it, you're like, why don't I like to feel dumb? You know what? Sometimes do I not know? Sure. What if I became friends with that feeling instead of trying to push it out? Now we're not running from these emotions anymore, right? We're developing an internal world that we can sit with these uncomfortable feelings. And I think that's part of what I've learned as I've gotten older. A lot of our life is spent running from uncomfortable emotions.
Absolutely.
Instead of getting curious about that feeling, becoming friends with that feeling. Accepting the feeling, right? Fear is not an enemy. Fear is a friend. So here's the thing, even about certain fears, right? With your accent, I usually would say something like that is a superpower. But we look at it like it's a detriment. We look at it like it's holding us back, but it's part of what makes you unique.
It's true. If you see it like that.
If you see it that way. But so there's this part of our brain that wants to fit in. We want to be like everybody else. Why? Again, it feels uncomfortable to stick out. It feels uncomfortable to be different. Why? What if the thing that makes us special in the world are those things? And what if instead of trying to push them away, we said, no, I'm going to protect that now. And I want to protect them with my life, because that's part of what makes me special.
Right. That's the new way of educating too, because it wasn't like that before. Our parents told us different stories, that we need to be perfect, they're gonna laugh at you. Be careful. Don't do it. Don't do that. And I think now parents are understanding, or this generation of parents, that let the kids be whatever they want, and if they do something different, we have to como aplaudirlos porque hacer eso.
Right, right. Well, now we were talking about it earlier before the cameras were on. My parents, my father's from Iran, my mother's from Puerto Rico, and I grew up in the 80s. So in that era, they cared about assimilation.
Yeah, we did.
Right? They cared about, we don't want you to stick out. We don't want you to be different. For my father, my father, think about from Iran, where people are looking at him and saying, well, you're a terrorist. So I remember one day, actually, he came home from work, and on his work shirt, his name is Jamal. But on this day, on his work shirt, it said Jim. And I remember looking at it, and I'm like, Dad, why does your name say Jim on your shirt? And I remember the way he looked at me, because he just looked at me and he said, it's easier that way.
Oh.
And I got it. Right? Because
to fit into the society.
That was the thing, right? Fit in, don't stick out. People won't say anything about you. You won't feel bad. And that's part of why I wish I was here to give this interview like full Spanish and do our thing. But because of where I grew up and the era that I grew up, it was like, we want to make sure you can just blend in. And I feel like I lost some of my potential superpowers at that stage, because I would love to be able to go really speak Farsi, speak Spanish, speak English. Right. I already speak a little bit of hood because I'm from Chicago. I wish I could add those other things too.
You said something in a video in social media, and it caught my attention. You said, I've been guilty of wanting to get something before I'm willing to be that thing. It's a cool phrase, but it requires a lot of analysis too, because I was like, what again? I saw the video like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, and then you went into kind of explaining what was this about. So tell me about this, because it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think, for example, these things started to hit me in marriage, where marriage is this ultimate mirror and relationship where you start to see what you expect. Like, okay, I want this to be like the ultimate love. Right. And I think that's where I first realized is like, man, I want to be loved at the highest level, or I want to be forgiven. But man, it's not easy for me to love when I feel bad, or it's not easy for me to forgive when I feel like I've been wronged. It was a great eye-opening sort of like awakening for me as a person to be like, why is it so easy to want it and so hard to give it?
I see. But how are you going to give if you're not like that? How are you going to, wish love if you don't love yourself?
Yeah, well, and again, I think there's a difference between, well, I love myself and I want to receive love, but can I give love when I feel like I was just hurt 5 minutes ago?
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think those are the moments where we start to realize, I don't feel like loving right now. And I think that's part of what the commitment of something like marriage helped me see is, because you make a commitment, the commitment actually organizes your decisions. So